Within walking distance of ProMedica Toledo Hospital, there is an area where the history of local law enforcement, crime, and natural beauty all collide. What are the mysteries that are contained within the walls of the Toledo Police Museum? And do these enigmatic forces reach out beyond the museum, somehow affecting surrounding Ottawa Park and the neighborhoods nearby? The Toledo Police Museum opened in 2011 within the former Nature Center building at Ottawa Park. Contained inside the museum are exhibits of items preserved from many different eras of the Toledo Police Department. With so many historical objects located inside of one small structure, and with each of them perhaps containing residue from all ranges of the emotional spectrum, could these conflicting energies be the cause of reported activity in the museum? A curator recently informed us that paranormal occurrences rose sharply after the Toledo Police Museum temporarily acquired a replica of the electric chair that was used for 315 executions from 1897 to 1963. Although those death sentences were carried out inside of the original Ohio Penitentiary in Columbus, in 2015 the authentic chair was permanently loaned to the Ohio State Reformatory in Mansfield, and it was from there that the replica was borrowed by the TPD Museum. What follows is a bit of speculation. While it's possible that unknown forms of energy were released by those executions and stored in the electric chair, like data saved on a hard drive, how does that explain the activity seemingly triggered in a different location by a mere replica of the original? Was it simply the grisly mental visualizations of the chair's purpose in the minds of the museum visitors and caretakers? And did those thoughts of an electric killing machine somehow power up other objects with murderous intentions on display, like the firearms used by Detroit bootleggers the Purple Gang? Reported anomalous activity consists of strange cold spots, strong sensations of an unseen presence, physical contact, random bouts of fleeting nausea, and eerie, unexplained noises coming from the basement. A shadow figure was even eyewitness down there on one occasion. It was on October 18, 2019, that Alterworld member Daryl stepped foot inside the Toledo Police Museum. Daryl and his partner were part of a public ghost hunt hosted by Haunted Toledo that night. While Daryl's own personal experiences with the paranormal there were minor, he did say that the atmosphere of the museum was thick, and it stayed that way during his entire time there. However, these are simply Daryl's perceptions and should not be considered to be solid scientific data. It was within the basement that the thick atmosphere that Daryl sensed upstairs seemed to condense even further. At one point during the investigation of the basement, both Daryl's partner and Chris Tillman shared an encounter with something that is best described as a bizarre type of transient energy field. Daryl's partner, who was and still is a complete skeptic, claimed that the event provoked a powerful sense of surrealism and was something that she had never experienced before in her life. However, she also points out that whatever it was did not feel like any sort of conscious presence. Haunted Toledo founder Chris Tillman said that the event caused a crawling sensation on his skin from the bottom of his shoulder blades and up to his neck. As mentioned earlier, a shadow figure was indeed witnessed in the basement, and the one who saw it was Tillman. However, that was during a different Haunted Toledo investigation of the museum. Alterworld believes that one visit is definitely not enough, and we do plan on revisiting the Toledo Police Museum in the future, as it is a fascinating place. Hopefully, we can also conduct a proper investigation as well. Ottawa Park is the city's largest regional park. It sits on 305 acres, or slightly less than half a square mile, of land. Ottawa Park is located in the west central area of the city and is actually a part of the larger Ottawa District, a region that includes historic Toledo neighborhoods like Westmoreland and Old Orchard. A stretch of the Ottawa River also twists its way through the park as it flows toward its final destinations of Little Maumee Bay and Lake Erie. Ottawa Park boasts quite a few recreational perks, like an outdoor amphitheater, picturesque nature trails, tennis courts, and an 18-hole golf course. Despite these amenities and the abundance of natural scenery that the park provides, it has been blemished by the abominable actions of human beings. On December 20th, 1973, the body of Vicki Lynn Small was found in Ottawa Park. She had been beaten, raped, and shot 6 times. However, the perpetrator of this horrific crime would remain a mystery for many years. A little less than 7 years after the discovery of Vicki Lynn Small, a murderous rampage targeting mostly young couples began in May of 1980 and lasting until September of 1981. The savage killing spree claimed several lives, including 12-year-old Dawn Backus, and left the city of Toledo paralyzed in a state of fear. The final victim was Peter Sawicki, who was shot to death in September of 1981. Sawicki was gunned down after coming to the rescue of his daughter and her boyfriend, who were both under attack. The following month, Anthony Cook, one half of the notorious Cook brothers, was arrested and charged with the murder of Mr. Sawicki. But it wasn't until many years later that DNA evidence would link both Anthony and Nathaniel Cook to many of their other crimes. In the year 2000, as part of a plea bargain in which the brothers would confess to all of the rapes and murders they committed in Lucas County, Anthony Cook surprisingly confessed to the killing of Vicki Lynn Small. After nearly 30 years, her murderer was finally known. But sadly, Ms. Small was not the only person whose final chapter, at least in part, was written in blood at Ottawa Park. On the morning of June 23, 2021, 36-year-old Theodore Walker was discovered by a park patron out for a walk. Mr. Walker had been shot twice, once in the chest. Apparently, his murder had actually taken place in Ottawa Park. Toledo recorded 70 homicides in 2021, and 6 of those murders, including that of Theodore Walker, happened within a 1 square mile radius that surrounds Ottawa Park. There is also a high crime rate in general, which, at least theoretically, seems unlikely, considering there is an active Toledo Police substation a short walk from the museum. The murder of Theodore Walker, as of this video's final editing in July of 2022, remains unsolved. But what is the big picture, assuming there actually is one? Allow us to speculate again for a moment. Do the objects representing the more violent history contained inside the Toledo Police Museum have an emotional influence on the nearby vicinity? Have the gruesome ends of Vicki Lynn Small and Theodore Walker somehow covered the area like a melancholic fog? Does the ProMedica Toledo Hospital nearby also somehow play a role in all of this? Could the hypothetical energies released by human emotional output, like the joy of birth, the stress of illness, or the grief of death, add even more threads to this intangible spiderweb? How many other possible scenarios are we not considering? Or can all this be simply chalked up to random circumstances and convergent human elements? No matter what your opinion may be concerning the paranormal, the fact remains that the Toledo Police Museum and Ottawa Park are both captivating fixtures of the city. There may be some strange forces at play in both locations. Then again, there may not be. But if all points in time are as equally real as the present, then perhaps the relics of the past that reside within the TPD Museum act as connective fibers to other time periods. Maybe history is still happening as it already did, just in different forms. And all we can see of those forms are the shadows.